Hello, and welcome back to the video breakdown series of Isolation in Progress. This video we are going to go over how I did the lighting for everything. And as you can see over in this corner, I have the V-Ray frame buffer set up on a different monitor but capturing so you can see how the lighting goes along with it. Since I am personally used to using two monitors to light a scene. And I thought the best way to go over how I light the scene is to first remove the current lighting and start from scratch. Of course, the original lighting is not gone. You can still see I have it selected in the outliner and in the panel itself. But for today, we're going to just create a new one and go as if I'm lighting the scene for the first time. So, for this scene, I felt that using a rectangular light would be more appropriate. So, if you'll... However, I knew that such a small light would not be enough to actually light up the scene. So, all I did is just rotate it 90 degrees so that it'll be pointing downward. And sort of start getting it into position before we go over into the attribute editor to start increasing the size of the UV. Now, as you can see in the frame buffer itself, you can start to see that it's getting lighter a little bit. So let's bring this up to the U size up to a 10. And to be fair, getting in the correct position is a little tedious, since you have to be looking at it from all sorts of sides to make sure it is in the correct place. So we'll just move it over here and increase the size more. We want it to sort of fill up this green square. So let's increase it by 5. And that's a good place for it to start. We don't want it to fill it up completely, as it'll start to clip through. And we have more options like directionals to work with that'll give more light facing downwards into the scene. So now that our U size is ready, let's expand the V size. And as you can see, it's already getting brighter in the frame buffer. So let's just make this a 10. And close it in just a little bit. So now you have a pure white light shining down onto the scene. However, for this project itself, we kind of want the light to give a little bit of color to this pure white scene. So before starting to mess with any other of the settings, I just want to give it a very subtle hue. Something that'll sort of counteract the lab feel of the white. So, now we have a nice blue tinge that isn't too obvious in the V-Ray frame buffer. That is a mouthful. And I'm probably going to continue to stumble over it. I am not sorry. Now, we start moving on with our directionals. These can be used to help enforce a little bit of shadow in the scene. Since without any directional at all, it gives soft shadows, but as we ever so slightly increase, the shadows become more defined. And then once again, I'm just going to take note of the directional it's at. No directional. With directional, it brightens up the objects in the scene as well as giving shadows more definition. That's the word I was looking for. Preview length does nothing for the scene, but it's always a nice thing to have. Now intensity multiplier. We kind of want this a little bit on the low end, sort of around 25. It's a little bit less than the default intensity. However, it does help with the mood of the whole scene itself. Now, since this overhead light is the only light in the scene itself, this is where you would call it quits. And it's where I myself will have to call the video an end. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day.